Flux with Fluxwithit.com, and we are here at the Noise Engineering booth. I try to do videos with these guys every year that I go to NAMM, and every year he just kind of looks at me like I'm some kind of douche. And this year I said, no, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to stare him down and I'm going to make this happen. So they have some modules. We're going to check them out. Hopefully they're cool. And I have a feeling that they might be, but we're going to put it to the test right here. So why don't you tell the people who you are first, because not everybody knows you.
Yep. Hi, I'm Stephen McCall from Noise Engineering.
And what is it that you do?
Our entire company is myself and my wife. So I primarily do the engineering part of the company. So I design and design the modules, software, hardware, yeah. All
right. So let's take a look over here. What are the modules that we're looking at today?
Okay, we're going to go through the modules that are going to be released in the first quarter of 2018. The first of these is going to be bin seek. Get the audio going. So this is a really simple gate/trigger sequencer. So it's just 8 switches. You give it a clock. You tell it where you want the beats to happen. The switches are 3 position. If you put the middle position, it will actually tie adjacent beats, so you can make longer gates or just little simple rhythms. The next one I'm going to show you is Solio Vero, which is a strobe tuner. So it's 4 HP. It allows you to normal up to 3 oscillators through it. So you just patch your oscillators through it. You can select which oscillator you want to tune. You can select what note you want to tune to. It gives you an octave readout and a coarse indication that tells you whether you're sharp or flat. And then the strobe tuner, which once you're close enough to the actual pitch, will just make it stand still and you will be in tune. So I'll just turn that up. And ta-da, we're in tune.
Get right in here and look at this stuff. Alright.
Cool. So Muted Jovis is another very simple utility module. 4 switches, and they basically just connect the input to the output. So it's switch mutes. So we're using it to do gates. It will work for gates, CVs, or audio. But that's pretty much it. On, off. And then last is Mimetic Digitalis, which let me get a little this going. So right now we have the Mimetic Digitalis hooked up to the Manus Ateritas, just modulating the tone. And tone that down just a little. Okay. So this is Mimetic Digitalis is a 16-step 4 CV output sequencer. So you get 16 steps. Each step you have 4 CVs at that step. You can trigger it linearly, where it goes through all 16. You can also do X, where it just is the horizontal row, or Y, where it does a column. There's also a random trigger into for ultimate chaos. So there's a bunch of different ways to sort of do data entry and interact with this module. So I'm going to show off my favorite ones first. So you can, if it's just running normally, you can push and turn this encoder and it will just record what you do. So.
Oh wow.
So it's one of the big use cases of this sequencer is as a live performance sequencer, where you can on the fly do sweeps and patterns and stuff like that, where you just basically play into it and it'll keep doing what you did basically. So I edited all 4 patterns at once. I'm going to go in and I'll just edit channel 3. Oops, can't hear channel 3. Let me see what's plugged into the channel I want. No, that's help you out. So you can basically just go in and punch in wherever you want to do like any sort of like edit.
Yeah, what are you saying? Steps?
No, it is steps. Yeah, it only has 16 steps. It does not do any smoothing at all. So another very fast edit mode, there's a 0 button, which just pulls back the It just zeroes the outputs for any step you're in, and if the clocks are going, like I just zeroed the entire pattern by holding it in for one measure, essentially. The shred button right next to it will just randomize the current step, which I just like to do. I like to just like tap rhythms into it, and you get like pretty cool little modulation sequences. You can also just hold that in if you just want straight random.
Now, which modules are we hearing right now?
This is just the Mana Triceratops, which came out in December.
And can you give us a little bit of rundown on that as well?
Absolutely. Let me pull the modulation out so I can control.
I have not had the pleasure to play with them, so
Awesome.
that's why I want to get a little bit understanding of the topology on the module and what you're doing inside it.
Cool. So the genesis of this module was two of our friends, Matt Lang and Anthony Baldino, wanted us to basically make a much more aggressive version of the Basimulis. That was the initial premise. It morphed into its own thing during development. So it basically started as a Basimulis, and then me asking the question, what can I do to make this more aggressive, more intense? So like one of the first things we did was get rid of all the waveforms except for sawtooth. So it only has sawtooth, but it still is much like the Basimulis, it's an additive synth, so it's just a bunch of oscillators that get combined and modulate each other, and well, there's some modulation as well. But so the tone controls profundity. Up to about halfway, it gives you just like a synthesized chorus, and then at the top part, it does a pitch by pitch or a sample by sample pitch modulation, so you get kind of a swarmy effect. Smash is the fold replacement, but it's just a much more aggressive distortion kind of effect. And then Saw Mod is it's kind of like a hard sync / PWM effect. It's just built into it. There's a filter built in as well. It's technically our first filter.
Okay.
It's just a very simple filter, but it allows you to kind of tone it back because there's a lot of harmonics. So the last knob is Bash, and it sends the envelope to these 3 tone parameters. It allows you to get, particularly the Bash LPF, you get some kind of almost low pass
So is it sending it to all 3 of those parameters in equal amounts?
No. Much like on other modules we made with sends, like the curve of the send is actually customized per parameter because every parameter wants.
But it's not adjustable from
It is not adjustable.
Okay,
no,
that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
You're right. No, there's no adjustment. It does make it. Most of the time, it just makes it sharper than the amplitude envelope because that actually makes it sound much more snappy. But and you can also do a negative send. You get all this gnarly effects. And the last feature that actually was a suggestion from on YouTube when we first started showing it off was if you turn the envelope knob, I haven't talked about that yet, but all the way up, it turns it into a free-running oscillator.
Okay.
So you can use it with whatever you want. Yeah, drones, or if you want to use your own VCA with some more complicated setup. And you can still trigger. There it is. You can still. Even when it's free-running,
now
you can still trigger the send.
In that mode, will it track volt per octave?
Everything tracks volt per octave.
It does?
Yeah, always.
So you can use that as a straight oscillator then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great, so it kind of started with the Basimulis, but it definitely turned into very much a lead or bass kind of voice. So yeah, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about the naming convention, how you guys came up with the naming convention on these.
Yeah, they're Latin-ish. Most of the words have Latin roots. Some of them are jokes. Actually, a lot of them have inside jokes that I'm the only person in the world that laughs at them. It just we obviously needed to name the products, and it just seemed like a fun naming convention to go with. It just kind of worked for me, and it makes unique names, so say they're easy to find when you search for them on the internet. And I don't know.
Now, was noise engineering your first set of musical instruments that you had worked on?
Yes, that's a fair statement. Yeah. Okay. I did a lot of work in audio in the video game business, but these are the first time that I've really built musical instruments.
Which was the first module that you guys came out with?
The Ataraxic Transitron.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which was basically built on a. Basically, my friend and the person who was in the office next to me at a previous job. Basically, I was criticizing his Eurorack modules that he had bought. He's a sound designer, and he basically called my bluff and was like, if you think you know what you're doing, like, then you should do it. And he really wanted a module which gave the Atari tones, the linear feedback shift register oscillator to sounds in 1 volt per octave.
Okay.
And so that was why I made that.
Awesome.
And then once it was done, it was like, I might as well sell this.
Yeah.
This was never conceived of originally. It just kind of, exactly.
All right, well, look, we're here with Noise Engineering, and thank you for showing us these models.
Awesome, thanks for coming.
Precise as you want. You can stop it.
Elbow shots.
Oh, elbow shots, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that.
Nice.
That's the kind of elbow that designs modules. You can't handle that kind of action. Who's covering elbows in NAMM? Ear. Like, you shouldn't be on this ear.
Really?
But that's the ear that I'm on. I want a clean one. Oh, shit. You seen us. We got to get the f*** out of here.